No one will come for you. That's what he said every night as I lay entombed in the fears I had long ago. Resign myself to my brother, loves to torment me. He always has. He's always taken great pleasure in my fear and misery. His idea of fun. When I was 3 years old, I vividly remember every night at around 9 o'clock, my mother would tell me it was time for bed. She would tuck me into the bottom bunk of an old steel, self-assemble bunk bed. She would kiss my forehead before saying goodnight, turning the light off and leaving the room, closing the door tight. As I lay staring at the dim light of the room, taking in the various silhouettes of the furniture, I would hear the springs of the top bunk creak and give. I would close my eyes and silently cry, knowing my brother's cruel game was about to begin. Every night was the same. My brother would growl at me in his malevolent croak about all the pain and misery awaiting me. No one will come for you, he would begin. No one will save you when I take you down to the other place. I would lie there, my body cocooned in the catatonic terror, only able to silently weep and listen as my brother would describe the various tortures he had thought up for me. Like breaking all my bones one by one, so slowly that by slowly deliberating snap of my last rib, my fingers would have already somewhat healed, allowing him to start again and again, forever. He would tell me that one day he would deliver on his threats, but for now, it was more fun to just let him tell me what he had in store. My brother loves to torment me. So yeah, this was my childhood up until I turned 7. My father decided that it was time to get rid of the bunk beds. He had bought them when my mother was pregnant. We live in a small flat in London. Not a lot of room at all, so when my mother told my father she was expecting twins, my brother and I, my mother says he was so insane with joy, like a hyperactive child on Christmas Eve. He went out to the bunk bed store that day and bought that damn steel bunk bed, saying it was the perfect solution for our lack of room, even though he knew the bunk bed wouldn't be used until we were at least 2.5 years old. He had our bedroom fully decorated and furnished, complete with bunk bed, 2 months before we were born. I say we. Sadly, my brother died while my mother was giving birth, so I should say before I was born. I didn't know much about what happened exactly. I'm very hesitant to ask my parents, as the mention of the subject sends the two into tears, and well, it's just not spoken in our home. I can't believe how well I still remember those days. I'm 27 now. I've got my own little flat, an okay job, and a beautiful collection of sleeping pills. I'm taking a whole bottle tonight. I'm going to finally sleep tonight. He's not going to keep me awake tonight. Oh God, I miss that bunk bed. At least when he had the top bunk, I couldn't see him. My brother loves to torment me. There was a young boy who lived in Russia. One evening his parents went out and they left him home alone. They told him to get himself ready and go to bed no later than 10 p.m. They warned him they would return after midnight, and if he was still up, there would be hell to pay. The boy started playing games on the computer and lost track of time. He looked at the clock and realized it was already 5 minutes after 11. He was about to go to the bathroom and to brush his teeth when the phone rang. Thinking it was his parents checking up on him, the boy let it ring for a while. Then he picked up the phone, pretended to be tired and yawned loudly and said, "Hello?" "Hello," replied an unfamiliar male voice on the other end. "Is there a dead body in your apartment?" I don't think so, replied the boy, more than a little surprised. Can you check, please? Asked the voice. We will call back in 5 minutes. The caller hung up, and the boy just stood there astonished. The phone call disturbed him. Why would anyone think there was a corpse in his apartment? What kind of question was that? What scared him the most was the mysterious caller's use of the word we. He picked up the phone again and tried to call his mom and dad on their cell phones. He kept calling them, but they didn't answer. They had probably switched their phones off, he thought. As soon as he hung up, the phone rang again and he immediately answered it. Well, is there a dead body? Asked the voice. I haven't searched yet, the boy replied. Well, what are you waiting for? Demanded the voice. You think the corpse will just find itself? We'll call back in 5 minutes. The boy went around the entire apartment looking here and there, but there was no corpse. The phone rang again. Well, did you find it? No, nope, nowhere. And you searched the whole apartment? The voice asked. Yes, every room, said the boy. And in the cupboards? Under the beds? No. Well, have a look, the voice growled. What's the matter with you? Have you never played hide and seek? We will call back in 5 minutes. The boy walked around the apartment. He looked in all the closets, under all the beds. He even checked the balcony. There was no corpse. The phone rang again. Well, did you find it? No, there's no dead body here. Okay, perhaps we have the wrong apartment. The voice laughed and hung up. The boy was confused by the phone calls, but he knew his parents would be home soon. He didn't want to get in trouble, so he quickly got undressed and hopped into bed. Just as he was about to fall asleep, he thought he heard the front door of the apartment quietly open and close. Then soft footsteps came down the hallway. Sometime after midnight, the boy's parents came home. When they walked into the apartment and turned on the light, they were confronted by a horrible sight. Their son was hanging lifeless from the ceiling. A rope was tied around his neck and his eyes were wide open, frozen in a look of terror. His mother screamed. Just then the phone rang. His father answered it. Hello, said an unfamiliar voice. Is there a dead body in your apartment? If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.